My name is Russell Roth. I am the founder of the Ambition Method, which is all focused on helping organizations and teams accelerate their results. What do you look for when you choose a project management consultant is pretty much what you should look for when you're choosing any sort of partner. It's got to come down to chemistry. I think it's got to come down to integrity. It's got to come down to the nature of the relationship. Most of the time, we go through an RFP process, and what gets indexed really high are the technical skills. I think that's a problem. I don't think you should hire somebody who doesn't have the technical skill. But when we're prioritizing technical skill over the ability to just work together, to mesh with your culture, to help really move things along in the least jarring way, even if you're trying to be provocative to trigger new thinking, that should, in my view, be the most important consideration. So maybe it's countercultural, maybe it's, or at least certainly a little bit of a different perspective from my point of view. I will often, when I'm filtering out my clients, I am looking at culture. I am looking at fit. I'm looking at whether or not we're going to be able to look each other across Zoom or Teams or when we're in person one day and agree that we're going to work together with earnest passion and a high degree of integrity to get a job done. Whether I've got the skill or not, I probably wouldn't put myself up if I didn't. But when I find that the client is prioritizing skill, I worry that that's probably not a good fit for me. So when you're trying to achieve a change, and that requires change in behavior, change in how people work, which cannot be divorced from culture, you might find yourself as a leader sitting in a situation where the culture that you're presiding over is not the one you actually need. And it's very hard cognitively to do that, to say, I'm the leader of this organization and I don't like X about the culture that's slowing me down or that's impeding our progress. So I think the biggest advantage of bringing somebody in is that they can look at this with a model, whatever model they may choose to use. And some models, I will say, are a little bit burdensome in terms of the deliverable heavy aspect. And I don't think it has to be that way. But a consultant that can come in with a model and really have an appreciation and help you develop an appreciation for, okay, this is the culture we've got. It's probably not working in these areas. Let's go after it and build a plan to change it. I don't know that there's a single way of defining success for a project management engagement. And I say that because I think it depends on what you're hiring the consultant for. What I will say, however, is that as you choose your consultant and then obviously throughout the process evaluate the work that they're doing, it must have the impact that you intended. So if the impact that you intended was for your leadership team to be more fully aligned around a strategy, or for your organization to get to your 5-year plan in 3 years, then there's a very clear way of being able to measure the consultant's contribution to that, realizing, of course, that the consultant's not going to do it on their own. If, however, you're looking for cost reduction, that's pretty binary. You may not even care how you get that cost reduction done. I would like to think most clients would care, and therefore there's an element of how the work is done as well as what the work is. So I think the measurement always comes down to being very clear on why you're hiring that partner in the first instance. The biggest mistake that I see any partners make when they bring in external consultants is typically to tell them exactly what to do. And why do I think that that's a problem? Well, you're losing out on their insights that they're bringing to you, but more importantly, you're also probably precluding the efficiencies that the consultant would bring by looking at the problem from a different perspective. So when somebody hires a consultant and says, this is what you need to do and do it exactly this way, my red flag goes up, because I think to myself, are we going to be good partners here? You're hiring me for my skill and my insight, or are you only hiring me for my hands to get the work done, in which case you could probably get it done some other way. Think about when change management is spoken about in the context of a big transformation. It's often at the end of a project management meeting. It's not at the start of the project management meeting. What does that say about its level of importance? What does that say about the level of significance that everybody around the room has? More often than not, when change is not prioritized, and I'm not talking about sort of small change, I'm talking about big change. When it's not prioritized, you're going to get results that are going to reflect that lack of prioritization. Don't get to it if you've got time at the end of the agenda. Make it the first thing on the agenda. Make time. And if you get to nothing else, at least know that you've got the change working.